The Cameron Highlands' cool climate and high altitude make it an ideal place for tomato cultivation. Due to the region's suitability for tomato growing, we chose Cameron Highland as the location for our tomato farming enterprise. This region is renowned by the extraordinary quality of the Highland tomatoes it cultivates. It is often said that the flavor of Highland tomatoes is sweeter than that in the lowland tomatoes. The texture of Highland tomatoes are more substantial and they have a much longer shelf life. In addition, Highland tomatoes have a more pleasing aroma and less acidic flavor than lowland tomatoes. In addition, the soil in Cameron Highland is rich in nutrients, drains well, and is suitable for tomato growing. Next, the high altitude of the Cameron Highlands protects tomatoes against illness and pests that are more prone to harm tomatoes grown at lower elevation. The high altitude provides this protection. After that, the area will have enough irrigation infrastructure, which is crucial for the growth of tomatoes, which need a constant supply of water. In addition, this area is renowned for its use of organic farming practices, which results in the creation of high-quality commodities, which in turn stimulates demand for this product on both local and international market. Finally, since the area is such a popular tourist destination, there is a ready market for locally grown tomatoes.
Hello, my name is Muhammad Afiq and I will explain the crop that need to be planted at the selected location, which is tomatoes. Tomatoes are a sort of vegetable comparable to a fruit that has brief lifespan and is transformed into food that fit human requirement in a different environment. The tomatoes family is Lycopodium psychopathicum and belong to the Solanaceae family. The Cameron Highland, which has a lowland area, produces the majority of Malaysian tomato output. The majority of these plants are grown to fulfill domestic needs and are partially shipped to Singapore. As for the growth requirement, tomatoes are one of a crop which require long exposure of sunlight, as well as well-drained soil with a pH between 6 and 6.8, and also continuous hydration to thrive. In addition, tomato requires frequent fertilizer and pruning to encourage healthy growth and fruit output. Pruning is crucial because it removes extra foliage and promotes air circulation, which can aid with the disease prevention in the tomato crop plantation. In order to reach its full potential, tomatoes require a high water supply to realize their maximum potential during production process, especially in the period immediately following transplant. As a result, selecting the proper irrigation system is critical. The drip irrigation system appears to be the ideal option for giving water to the tomatoes based on the genotype. There are two types of drip irrigation system. However, surface drip irrigation was considered to be a superior way for growing tomatoes than the subsurface drip irrigation. This is due to the fact that surface drip irrigation allows for better control of the water application, so it is easier to monitor the water coverage and make adjustment as necessary because water is applied to the soil surface directly, and it also allows for better air circulation around the base of the plant, which can help prevent issues such as disease. It also allows for an easy access to the plants for other tasks such as fertilization, pruning, and pest management. For the component of the drip irrigation, first it includes the water source. The water source acts as supplier of the water for the irrigation system. The water source might come from well, pond, lake, or river. Next, we have the pump component. The component was used to transport water from the source to the irrigation system. So that we have the filter component or the water filter. Before the water enter the irrigation system, the filter will be utilized to remove debris and other impurities from the water. So that we have the mainline pipe component, which the large diameter pipe transport water from the pump to the various irrigation system component. To that we have the sub-main pipe, which specific area of the field are served by the smaller diameter pipe which spill out from the main line. So that we have the emitter. This tiny device provides water straight to the plant root. Emitters come in two varieties, which pressure compensating and non-compensating. After that, we have the control valve component, which is utilized to regulate the water flow to various fields. Next, we also have the component of water meter, which is used to gauge how much water the irrigation system use to avoid any water loss or water waste. Next, for the fertigation method of the irrigation system, we decide to install the component of fertilizer injector, which is used to directly distribute fertilizer to the plant root by mixing it with irrigation water. For the last component of drip irrigation, it is recommended to use timer because it can be used to regulate timing of fertilizer injection and watering at the proper time. There are various ways to setting a drip irrigation system. First, a dependable water supply need to be located, and a pump was then constructed to collect water from it. A filter also need to be added to the system, which can guarantee that the water was clear of dirt and other impurities. The main pipeline was then built to transport water from the pump to various areas of the field. Submain and emitter are then installed to distribute water directly to the plant root. After that, a control valve was installed to control the flow of water to various portions of the field. Next, a water meter is installed to assess the water used to avoid any water loss. And for the fertigation method, a fertilizer injector has been installed to distribute the fertilizer to the plant by mixing it with irrigation water. Last but not least, a timer was utilized to control the irrigation schedule. This way, the plant will receive the necessary water and nutrient in an efficient and controlled manner.
On the farm, the irrigation system has been put into place is a drip irrigation system. Drip irrigation is a way of watering plants that involves delivering water to the roots of plants through a network of tubes or emitters. This type of watering is known as drip irrigation. Small amount of water are supplied straight to the base of the plant in either a continuous or intermittent manner, depending on which method is used, because it cuts down on water loss to both evaporation and runoff. This technique for irrigation crops is proved to be more effective than more conventional approach, such as using sprinklers that are suspended from the ceiling. A water supply, a filter, a pressure regulator, a backflow preventer, a control valve, sound tubing and emitter are the components that make up a standard drip irrigation system. The water supply may come from a tank, a well, or the public water system in the area. The dirt and salt in the water are strained out by the filter. The pressure regulator ensures that the water pressure throughout the system remains stable at all times. The backflow preventer stops water from leaking into the water supply when it tries to flow in the other direction. The water that is allowed to enter the tube is managed by the control valve. The water is transported to the emitter by means of the tubing, which may be composed of either rubber or plastic. The plant gets their water supply from the emitter, which may be situated either in the tubing's flow path or at its conclusion. The illustration of drip irrigation system, which is implemented on our farm, is as above. There are three methods to determine the irrigation schedule, which are first, plant observation method, second is estimation method, and lastly is simple calculation method. We choose the simple calculation method as to determine our schedule of irrigation after counting the factors such as climate, type of soil, crop root depth, and many more. There are 4 steps in simple calculation method, which are first, estimate the net gross irrigation depth D in mm. Second, calculate the irrigation water need in mm over the total growing season. Third, calculate the number of irrigation application over the total growing season. And lastly, calculate the irrigation interval in days. So to obtain the net gross irrigation depth D in mm, the equation is that D gross is equal to 100 multiplied by D net over EA. So for the EA, we obtain 90% and for the D net is 40. Hence, the answer in the net gross irrigation depth would be 44 mm. Next, we move on to the irrigation water need in mm. Throughout all of the growing season, which consists of February until June, a total of 599 mm of water has to be brought onto the field. Secondly, the number of irrigation application. The equation for such number of irrigation application is that number of irrigation application is equal to 599 over 40. Thus, it could be concluded that 14 applications of irrigation are required throughout the growing season. Last but not least, the irrigation interval in days. The equation for irrigation interval in days is equal to total days in growing season over number of irrigation applications. Hence, after being calculated, we obtain 10 days interval in days. Therefore, it can be concluded that D net is equal to 40 mm, D gross is equal to 44 mm, and such interval is equal to 10 days. To make sure that the irrigation system will keep working well over time, it was important to keep up with its maintenance. The complexity of a drip irrigation system can range from very simple to very complex, depending on how much land needs to be watered, what crops are being grown, and where the water comes from. First of all, we need to carefully check the system for any sign of damage, blockage, or leaks. This should be done once a week or right before the start of each irrigation cycle. The next step is to figure out how to clean the filter. This should be done at least once a month, but if the water supply is dirty or has a lot of sediment, it should be done more often. After that, we will need to clean up the system. You need to do this task at least once every 3 months to clear the tubing of any dirt and debris that may have built up. Not only that, but we also have to make sure the emitters are clear of anything that could block the water. This should be done at least once every 4 weeks, but if water is scarce, it should be more often. Also, you need to make sure that the pressure regulator is working well. You should do this at least once a year to make sure that the water pressure is within the parameter set for best performance. So, we need to take a look at the control valve. At the very least, this should be done once a year to make sure it works well and that the water flow is consistent. Also, the device that stop water from flowing backward should be checked and cleaned. This needs to be done at least once a year to make sure that it is working properly. One last time, check the water source before moving on. This task needs to be done at least once a year to make sure the